I have a question. Should I wear green lipstick? People are going to be really mad if I wear green lipstick. I'm going to wear green lipstick. The reason why I say people are going to be mad is because people love to like tell you what you should and shouldn't wear on your own face. Is this the right kind of green? No. Ooh, girl. All right. This is Blow by Melt Cosmetics. You poor fan. Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated! Welcome to another episode of 90 Day Fiancé. This is season 6, episode 8, No Way Out. Look at my fan, it's broken. Just like this season of 90 Day Fiancé. I am so over this. It's so boring. It's so boring. I mean, there's some standouts. Obviously, Larissa is the queen of my soul, right? And Lleida and Eric make things interesting only because Lleida is just such an asshole, you know? Like, an asshole. Let's jump right into this episode, but before we do, please go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel so you can get updates on when I post a video. You never miss a beat, especially the lives. I've been doing a lot of lives lately, so if you want to catch that on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell. Also, share this video on other 90 Day Fiancé social media platforms where it's popping, it's cracking, people are having conversation. Go ahead and link your girl, you know what I'm saying? You should give the gift of Wah. It's December, it's Christmas, it's the gift giving season. Give the gift of Wah. Let's go ahead and get this episode started because girl, my Love After Lockup recap is up next and I am so excited. I poured myself a drink. I mean, it doesn't have alcohol in it, but I poured myself a drink. This is some Martinelli's and some pineapple juice. I am ready for Love After Lockup because Love After Lockup is what reality TV and 90 Day Fiancé used to be. It's in its pure, you know, first 2 seasons where people are still crazy and nothing is staged, or at least it doesn't feel staged, and it's just pure entertainment. No spoilers, no cast drama, just fun. So the first couple that we're going to talk about is Ashley and Jay. Okay, so we're coming right off the heels of that very uncomfortable episode where Ashley read through all of the horrible racist tweets that just made me so uncomfortable, and I don't know what producer thought it would be a good idea, but it was the wrong idea. I'm still like reeling from that, and I feel like poor Jay is being taken advantage of because I feel like the producers are not people of color who have any sort of sense of what reading something like that out loud would do to anyone. I mean, I don't know, girl. I just can't. Anyway, so they decided that the threats have been so real that they are putting security cameras all around the house. Ashley says that people have been dropping out of the wedding due to the things that have been said online and they are worried about their safety. And I'm just like, wow. Wow. Those people aren't your friends, Ashley. I get it, but it feels like that's a real, like, scaredy cat. Like, you're gonna drop out of the wedding because it's interracial and you don't want to get caught up in. You guys should be there and like stand up for your friend and fight back. Stand up for your friend's right to love. I don't know, that's what I think. I wouldn't not go to a wedding because white supremacists or white racists are coming. I don't know, I would go. Anyways, that's just me though. So Ashley and Jay just decide that they're gonna elope to Vegas and have their wedding, and they go to Ashley's friend's house and tell them about it, the bridesmaids, and just let them know what they're doing and that they're gonna elope. Ashley's friends are very supportive of their choice to go on ahead and elope and leave, and then the producers ask everyone, Ashley's friends, Jay, anyone they can ask if they think that this is a sign that Ashley is running away from the wedding. And all parties are like, no, it's not that situation at all. We were there for that situation. That was something completely different. She really loves Jay. We don't think she's trying to run out on this. I think she just thinks that she wants everyone to feel safe, and if the safest thing is for her and Jay to elope to Las Vegas, and that's what they're gonna do. Okay, girl, I'm just not invested in that couple, you know? I'm just not invested in this couple enough to care. So, was that it about Ashley and Jay? I also think that the storyline of people dropping out of the wedding or not going to attend the wedding is a lie and a fraud and a fake. I think it's set up by producers. That whole scene was set up by producers. I think everything has been set up by producers, honestly. Outside of the TLC streets, we find out that the person who really wrote all those comments, and it was one person, was some jilted lover, some guy she used to date in high school who she jilted, and he was very upset about it. So he decided to go on a rampage and pretend to be 50 different people leaving negative comments on her Tie the Knot website. As well as Jay and Ashley do actually get married. There are leaked photos all over Instagram, girl. So like, that's another reason why I think it's fake and it's a ruse. But you know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they decided to have a wedding later on. But Jay was totally wearing another outfit. So is the maroon suit a ruse? Like, what's going on? And then she's like packing 4 days before she's going to Vegas. Who packs 4 days in advance? I mean, yeah, maybe some of you out there, but the most of us, why would you pack 4 days in advance? What makeup are you gonna use? Does she have a whole other like group of makeup that she uses? I can't pack my makeup until the day of, girl. Who packs 4 days before they're gonna go to Vegas? So let's move on to the next couple. Let's move on to Asuelu and Kalani. Wherein Asuelu starts crying again, girl. I can't see Asuelu cry another time. I cannot see that. I mean, I can't see any man that I'm dating cry more than once or twice. Like, a family member need to have passed away and or they needed to like broken some bone in their body. Like, why are you crying, bro? We start out with Kalani leaving. She says goodbye to her sister. They give a long hug and she goes. And then it's just Asuelu and Kalani left there to talk. And they're talking. And Asuelu basically lets Kalani know that it's really important for him to have physical contact with her. He feels like he came to the States to be with her, to be with his wife, and to be with his family. And he doesn't understand that when she gets upset, she doesn't want to be touched. And he feels that that means that she doesn't really love him. And he starts to cry because he doesn't understand why she's being that way. She says it's because when she's upset, she doesn't want to cuddle. She wants to talk. And then they both start crying and they both feel better. And so she now thinks that she might be on the path of being ready to marry him, maybe. All's well that ends well for the time being. Is that it, girl? That's another thing. I forgot to mention that in the last episode, that Kalani thinks that that's her baby because she feels like she made a choice to have him and she's going to do it with or without him. So it's her baby. Let me just read. Kalani and her baby ended weird and annoying, misunderstanding. He's not the person he was in Samoa. He doesn't talk to her. He doesn't try to fix things. It's hard to watch him talk about cuddling, girl, because I was just like, woof. Then everything is miraculously okay. Those were my notes. Next. Okay, so the next couple that we have were Olga and Steven. So Steven is still feeling some type of way about Olga not contributing enough to their relationship, but it's been 3 weeks now and they're getting a little better. And Olga is a beast, yo. She whips out that boob at any time to feed that baby. You are not gonna stop Olga from being the natural mom that she was born to be. I feel like she is so, and maybe she's just an adult, maybe because of her upbringing. Like, I know a lot of 19-year-old girls who were like, breastfeeding, ew. And so like, to see somebody that young just like jump into it, and maybe it could be a thing of the US versus another country, and just like, or maybe just my little, you know, world of 19-year-olds that I knew from when I was younger and people that I know now. I'm just like, girl, yes, feed that baby, whip that titty out and feed that baby, girl. Give Richie that sustenance. So I really like Olga, obviously. I think she's beautiful. I think she's like a down-to-earth, chill chica. You know, I'm with her. Steven, on the other hand, still, you know, needs some room for improvement. You know, he's quick to feel like she doesn't love him. And I don't think there's any room for that right now. But you know what I'm saying? He is allowed to have his feelings. He's just looking really bad while he's having them. So Steven then goes to an immigration lawyer to talk about getting citizenship for Richie and getting Olga's K-1 visa. When he gets there, the lawyer tells him that getting Richie his citizenship is going to be easy peasy. All they need to do is fill out the documents, take the birth certificate and other stuff, and then go to the embassy in Moscow. And so he's like, cool. He's like, but what about that K-1 visa though? And the lawyer was like, look, you know, it's going to be a harder battle because of policies and because of relationships between the two countries. So you're still going to have to go to Moscow and you're still going to have to apply, but it's probably going to take some more time. It's going to be a longer, harder process. And so Steven's like, cool. And so he tells the camera that he thinks that possibly Richie should just go to the US with him. And then I think to myself, what the fuck is Steven thinking? I mean, I know what he's thinking, but like, why does he think that he's going to separate a newborn baby from its mother? Look, who's gonna raise this baby while he's out working? Me, mom, papa? They're ready to take on a newborn? Or his mother, who's perfectly fit and capable of taking care of him? he gets back to the apartment. He talks to her about that. He doesn't say anything about maybe taking the baby with him, but he tells her that it's going to be a harder process. And so she says, okay, well, while we're in Moscow, I want to show you Moscow. I want to discover Moscow with you. And he's like, I'm not worried about sightseeing in Moscow. What I'm worried about is X, Y, and Z. And she's like, fuck, okay, Steven. Damn it. Like, can't she just have a moment? Like, she's trying to bridge that gap. She's trying to give him the love that he wants. And he's like, no, we have to talk about this now. And I'm just like, okay, like, I get it. He was just like really intensely worrying about what he wanted to worry about at the time. But it's like, that's the door. She opened the door to give you the love and to show you the attention you want, and you shut it down just so that you know. I know you didn't mean it, but just so you know. And so while they're in Moscow, which looks beautiful, by the way, I've never wanted to go to Russia ever, but like, every time I see those like rooftops, I'm always like, oh, it's so pretty. I loved when Anna came on. That is Olga's best friend. She comes on and she asks the hard-hitting question. And she asks Steven if he's there for Olga or he's there for the baby. What's his plans? It was really great. It was a really good adult conversation between, you know, young 20-somethings, barely 20s, you know? And I just felt the love between those two, and I was happy that Olga finally got somebody after 3 weeks and after having such a surgery to be on her side and to listen to her. And I would hope that she had had more time to hang out with Anna after the cameras had gone away, you know? That's my hope for Olga. Okay, so that's it for the boring couples. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this episode. Oh, P.S. if you guys don't remember or don't follow me on Instagram, I am no longer going to be covering Jonathan and Fernanda because A, they're boring, and B, Jonathan tried to threaten other 90 Day Fiancé recappers or reviewers because of his penis picture, and they didn't even have the penis picture. He basically just wanted people to stop talking about it, and I was like, then you needed to tell Fernanda not to leak your peen on the gram. You feels me? So I'm not talking about them anymore because they're here just for the money. They're just here for the 15 minutes of fame anyway, which is fine because they all are, but like they're very, like their whole storyline is just like, ugh, I can't. I didn't even watch it. I just like fast forward the girl. I don't even care. Okay, next, Lleida and Eric. Eric is still the worst dad ever, and the treatment of Tasha was deplorable, and I can't wait for next episode when Tasha's mom comes up and is like, yo, what you got to say? Lleida, I know my daughter's 19, but I'm still her mom, so how we handling this though? Okay, so where we first start off is where we ended last episode, where they're in the car after the furniture store and Lleida is making crazy threats. She's like, I'm going back to Indonesia. I don't care about this. I don't want to feel like I have to marry you just because I want to stay here and go to medical school and it's a better opportunity for me. And he's like, what? And she's like, yeah, I don't like want any of this. It's too hard. You don't make me the priority. Your daughters, you're paying $1,000 a month. I did the calculation, son. You're paying $1,000 a month for your daughter, and me and Alessandro need to be your first priority. And Eric is like, yeah, that's what it is. That's what I have to pay. That is what I have to pay. And I'm not going to stop paying it because that is my child. And I'm not going to give up my parental rights to my kids to marry you. I'm sorry, that's just not going to happen. And she's like, well, I don't care then. I mean, she's just being really ridiculous. Like, right? She's just like being like, she's just being like super, super ridiculous. And she doesn't even see it. She's just only seeing what she wants and the fact that she feels like he misled her or that he should be doing more. And he's basically like, look, I'm gonna get us there. I just can't get us there now. And she's like, but I want it now. She's like Veruca Salt from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. 10,000 tons of ice cream. And if I don't get the things I am after. That's who she is. But daddy, I want a goose that lays golden eggs. You know, Eric is like, no. So they go back and forth about that, and she again threatens to go back to Indonesia, and I just don't understand the draw. What does Eric see in Lleida that he's willing to allow her to emotionally manipulate him and throw down the gauntlet and say, I'm going back to Indonesia if you don't give me what I want? If I were Eric, I would have been like, bitch, bye. You can go back to Indonesia because you're not going to get what you want right now. And they're basically at a standoff. And then finally she's just like, well, I'm going home. And then she doesn't. That's it. She says she's going home and then she doesn't. They get back to the apartment. It's like the next day or whatever. Jerica, or whatever his youngest daughter's name is, she's there with Alessandro. They are both unbothered. They are the most unbothered children I have ever seen in my entire life. At some point, they leave Alessandro and Jerica there. I don't know if she's like 13 years old, so she's watching 5-year-old Alessandro, but they're just playing video games. And Eric and Lleida go off, or they have another conversation about it, and she again starts to rail about being a priority. And And he says, you are a priority. You're on the same level of priority as my daughter. And she's like, that's not what priority means. And I'm just like, girl, English is your second language. Don't tell him what the word priority means. He's putting you both in the same priority. That's the only thing he can do, is put you both. That is silly for you to even want him to leave his daughter behind or not pay for his daughter. Your dad still pays for you. What? Does her ex-husband not pay anything for Alessandro? That is crazy if he doesn't. That is crazy. I don't think that's culture. And then Eric says something that's wildly like bold. He was like, first of all, you need to let go of that selfish Indonesian culture background. And this is America, and America is all about family. Who's America, Eric? Who's America is what I want to know. Not every American cares about family. There are people who have walked away from their families without a look over their shoulder. There are some cultures in America who it feels like they don't give a shit about their family. And there's other cultures in America that seem like they rally around their family. So it's not all Americans are all about family. Not all the time, girl. Like, where have you been? There is many different things that happen in this country, and no person from any part of this country is allowed to say, you need to stop with your Indonesian selfishness. Because when I think of other countries and family, I think of them as banding together and having larger families than US. But that's just me, right? So that's my point of view. But your point of view is absolutely wrong. Family is not all necessarily number one. It depends on the family, obviously. So I don't know when, but at some point, Lleida becomes okay with Jerica. She likes Jerica there for Alessandro to hang out with. And so I guess at this point, she's okay with the $1,000, and she finally starts to understand what's going on, which I'm just like, why did you get that from the beginning? Her next target is Tasha. So apparently Tasha hasn't really been staying at the place, but she's been leaving her stuff. I guess she's been staying with her boyfriend through all this filming and shit. And she goes into Tasha's room and is just like disgusted. And I'm just like, stay out of her room though. Her name is on the lease. Her dad is not allowed her to pay rent. Stay out of her room. You got the rest of the house the way you want it. Stay out of her room. She's pissed off about that. Tasha comes home and she just immediately goes off on Tasha. And Tasha's like, you're not the boss. She's like, I am the boss. And Tasha's like, no, you're not the boss of me. I don't care what you think, sweetie. Make me leave. And Lleida's like, I'm gonna tell your father. I'm gonna tell him. He told me that he doesn't want you here and he told you to leave. And she's just like, okay, my dad says that he can't even defend me in front of you because of how much you'll freak out. You won't even let my father show affection to me. Like, you're a crazy person. True. That's absolutely true, Tasha. You are right. And Lleida's like, well, I'm gonna call him right now. I'm gonna call him. Eric, you need to come get your daughter. Like, I'm gonna call him right now. So she gets on the phone and calls Eric, puts him on speakerphone, and makes him tell Tasha to get her shit and leave. What is it about Lleida? Power of the P! I don't get it. At all. This former beauty queen, she getting on my last nerves. Like, she's not even... Girl, I'm hungry. This is chili beans. There's about to be a mukbang. You didn't know it was going to be a mukbang. It is now. And then Eric is going to say that he didn't raise his daughter that way and he doesn't know why she's so messy. I'm like, obviously you did. As we found out in previous episodes, Eric really wasn't there. It was the mom who raised them because he was always in the military. And they ended up getting divorced when he moved back home to stay for, good, when he wasn't traveling all over the place or in a war, I think, So Lleida keeps threatening Tasha that she's just gonna go home and that her dad's gonna be so pissed at her because she's the reason why Leida's gonna leave and go to Indonesia. And then her dad's really not gonna talk to her because it's just so emotionally abusive. Like, basically lording over the fact that she's gonna leave and go to Indonesia if Tasha doesn't move out, thus making her dad unhappy and mad at her. It's too much burden on Tasha. It's not Tasha's business or problem or anything to deal with this situation between Eric and Lleida. Lleida is so manipulative. It's ridiculous and it's annoying and it's so see-through and it's like you're a crazy person and we all see it. So Tasha's like, I'm sorry that you don't like dirt. And Leida's like, nobody likes dirt. And that was the only thing that I agreed with Lleida about. Girl, Tasha, nobody likes dirt. If it were me, you would have been had go too. I'm just gonna be real. I wouldn't be emotionally abusive. I would have taken that money from my father, got my own place in Baraboo, and waited for Tasha to leave. That's what I would have done if I were Lleida. Tasha moves out. At the end of it, she's crying, and I really feel bad for her. I really feel bad for her because that sucks. All right, so the next couple that we're gonna talk about, girl, Colty and Larissa. Okay, so this was a really good episode for them, girl. Whoever is against the queen dies. That's the quote of the episode. Besides, nobody likes dirt. So we first start off this episode with them driving in a car, as always. They just need to hammer it into our heads how hot it is in Vegas. And how do they hammer that into our head? By having every first scene be Larissa in a car with either Debbie or Colt or both of them going somewhere. And Larissa just being hot AF. So Debbie and Larissa go to wedding dress shop and they have $1,000 budget, which already is a recipe for disaster. So Leah meets Debbie and Larissa at the dress shop and Larissa starts to try on dresses. And she tries on a couple of really cute dresses and she ends up trying on this last one that Debbie basically says that's too expensive because it's $2,400 and Larissa's gonna have to choose between getting a green card and getting a dress. Now, here's my thing. I think that it's okay that Colt gave his mother the money to go, okay, we can only spend $1,000, help her find a dress within the budget. My first question is, why did they go to a dress shop where she was gonna find dresses that were not in the budget? My thought, TLC frauding. TLC set them up with this dress shop in order to have there be conflict and drama, right? So she's trying on this beautiful dress and it looks great on her, but it's $2,400. And Debbie says no. My second thing with this is, why does Debbie even know about how much it's gonna cost for the green card? That conversation about the green card needs to be between Larissa and Colt. There's no reason that Debbie should be throwing things like, oh, well, you need to decide what you want. It's the green card. Yeah, you can get this dress, but then you're not gonna get your green card. Like, that's too much. Larissa's a grown-ass woman. She doesn't need Debbie telling her, this is what is gonna happen. You're gonna have to choose between these two things. That shit is rude. That's rude, right? That's a conversation between Colt and Larissa. That's a conversation that Colt should have had with Larissa beforehand. The reason why your budget is $1,000 is because these are the things that I have to get. And I won't be able to get them if you spend more than that on your dress. You know what I'm saying? Don't have Debbie lording that over her head like you need to make better decisions. And then Debbie's like, Colt would rather see you in a sexy nightgown than this dress. I'm just like, stop talking about Colt and what he would like to see. I mean, they've alluded so many times that Colt and Larissa are having a lot of sex all the time. And I'm kind of here for it, but after thinking about what his skin must feel like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to hear about it. Let them do what they do, you know? I don't need to be privy to that. I'm good. I feel pretty good about that. The not knowing part. So then they have this barbecue, girl. And this is where shit gets way out of line because Colt did not stand up for Larissa. And that was strike number 10,000. Larissa needs to leave this relationship. Colt is horrible and he's not good with conflict. I can't be with a man who does that. Like, not at all. Not at all. I need to feel protected by my man and Colt is never gonna protect Larissa. Ever. And maybe that's not something she needs, but it's something that I would need. In fact, I don't think any of these guys at all in any of these scenarios, I wouldn't feel protected. Jay is probably the only guy that I would feel comfortable with. That I would feel he would actually protect me and be on my side and be a good boyfriend. They're all wimps. I mean, maybe Eric is not a wimp, but he sweats just so much and he just ugh, you know? Ugh. But anyways, so John gets there, John and Leah, and they're having a barbecue and John immediately just goes in on Larissa and is like, you need to show him more love. He's acting as though he's in the center of their relationship. Like he lives in that house with them. And then Colt. Then Colt brings up the fact that they want to find their own place and that Debbie's going to have to go somewhere else and live. And for whatever reason, John is just doing the most. John is like, oh, it would be a blessing to have Debbie come and stay with us because she's so nurturing. Oh, my mom used to say that everything in this world changes except for your Aunt Debbie. And I'm like, that's not a fucking compliment. That means that Debbie's stagnant and isn't doing anything and doesn't have any growth or mobility in her life. What? Why shouldn't Colt and Larissa have a place to themselves? What is wrong with Debbie moving out? I'm not saying that she needs to be out on the streets. That's what John seems to think is gonna happen. That for whatever reason, Debbie doesn't have anything. And it's oh, well, Debbie pays half the rent and you don't pay any rent. I'm like, why is everyone in everybody else's finances? John just goes in on her. You don't love Colt. You're only here for the green card. Like, you don't do anything. You know, Larissa's standing her own and basically saying that Debbie makes her life hell, which I think is a little superfluous. I don't know if Debbie makes her life hell. I think just Debbie bothers her, and Larissa's too fucking grown for that shit. She's too grown to be living with another grown woman who's trying to, like, tell her what to do. You know, and I feel it. But this is the price she has to pay, honestly. It is what it is. And so, like, they're making it seem like she's just this freeloader. Like, as soon as Larissa can get a job, I have no doubt in my mind that she's gonna go get a job, girl. Like, it's because she can't get one because she's a foreigner. But that doesn't mean she shouldn't be able to make any decisions. It's crazy. It's just too much. John is literally yelling at her and calling her a bitch, and Colt is just sitting there. It was unacceptable. And then she starts to yell because she's laughing at him at first, trying to, like, you know, push through this while her boyfriend just fucking sits there. Her fiance just sits there and does nothing. And then it was just so, like, John's a pig, Colt's a pussy. Leah didn't even try to tell her husband anything. Debbie's, like, in the house with the kids. Leah, Colt are just kind of like, Like, it's just John and Larissa going at it. And finally she just screams and gets up and she's like, whoever's against the queen, whatever she says. God. Ugh. I'm getting so tongue-tied. That whole fight scene pissed me off so much. And then at the end of it, after this whole thing, and Debbie and John and Leah leave, and Debbie's like, yeah, going ahead and go home, and all this shit, and, like, Larissa's like, you poisoned John against me. Debbie's like, I haven't even talked to John, which I don't think Debbie's poisoned John against Larissa. Maybe to her, like, best Judy's, but I don't think it's to John. She's not calling John up to tell him the tea. I don't know, maybe she is. But Larissa's feeling extremely alone, and Colt is just such a pussy. And I hate that word, you guys. I don't even like saying it. It's so gross, but, like, he's just such a pea. Then he basically tells Larissa that it's her fault, that she needed to prove to them that she wasn't just here for the green card, but she's acting like a bitch. She goes from zero to bitch, and it's not making her look good. And I'm like, it is not her job to convince your family to be civil to her. She has done nothing to them. She has done nothing to you. And you want her to what? Tap dance? For how long? For how long? It is absolutely insane that he expects her to prove to them that they should be nice to her. I mean, at this point in the argument, her arguments are crazy, but Colt is just like, I mean, some of the things he says, what does he say? It's her job to change their opinions. You're not giving them a reason to like you. It's our responsibility to show them that it's not true. You go from zero to bitch. You're not perfect. You're not an angel. Like, she's not saying she's any of those things. At least what we're seeing. Then she's gonna tell Debbie, you put your hands on me, I call the police on you. And then he's like, don't try to use American laws against Americans. First of all, what Larissa said was crazy because Debbie didn't even look like she's the kind of person to put her hands on anybody. I think that Larissa was just so hyped up and she saw Debbie coming towards her and she just, like, said something crazy that she shouldn't have said. But that for his reaction to be like, don't use American laws against us? No. Nope. You gotta go. Larissa needs to go home. I don't like Colt. I don't like it. Not one bit. All right, you guys, so that's the end of this episode. Let's go ahead and have a kiki and a conversation in the comment section. Let me know what you thought of this episode. It was like, to me. I'm just over it. I'm sad that this video is as long as it is because there's really nothing that was happening. I talked about 5 seconds about every couple. Oh my God. All right, if you like what I do here on this channel and you'd like to consider becoming a Patreon patron, please click the link down below. Go on ahead and follow me on Instagram. Let's do that Instagram bit that everybody seems to love so much. I appreciate it. All right, you guys, I have just finished filming my recap of 90 Day Fiancé, girl. I am over this. Anyways, it should be up on Wednesday, so please check it out. Go on ahead and follow me. Don't forget to like this video. Go ahead and give it a thumbs up. You guys have to watch my Love After Lockup review. I'm so happy it's coming up next. Or at least I'm going to film it next. I don't know when it's going to be uploaded. All right, you guys. Remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Bye.